Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. So we are so excited to welcome Atilola Moronfulu to the channel. She is a trichologist and the founder of the Good Hair Tribe, which is a tech-driven hair care literacy and coaching company that literally spans the globe from Nigeria to the US to the UK to Canada. And they're really focused on supporting women and hair care literacy. And today she so generously volunteered to share her time with us. So join me in welcoming Atilola to the channel as she shares her expertise with us about hair loss and the things that we can learn. So welcome Atilola to the channel. We are so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me, Arlene. I call you Arlene, like a
Yes.
like a single name, right?
Yes.
I'm very excited to be here. I do not take this privilege for granted. I'm looking forward to having a great
Yes.
discussion with you here today. Thank you very much for bringing me to your platform.
Awesome. So let's just jump right in. So one of the things that I was incredibly excited about learning when I went onto your channel, when I went onto your website and learning about the Good Hair Tribe on that site, you have a passion for helping others, particularly those dealing with hair loss. So tell us a little bit about your background and why you got into this work in terms of supporting people who are dealing with hair loss and hair care literacy.
Okay, thank you for having me. Like you already know, my name is Atilola. I'm a trichologist into tech, also into hair care, everything about hair care and technology. That is what I do. It just started for me as a passion, right, to talk about hair because of my own journey into growing out my own hair. So I started with a blog, right? That was 2011. That's 14 years ago. I started with a blog then called African Naturalistas. And then we were always writing about hair care and everything. I say we because I also had other people who were already in the hair care industry writing on that blog with me. And then we were just basically loving about writing hair. And then people started asking me about hair products. They needed products. And then I just started manufacturing products, right? At that particular point, just small things, just whipped butters and all. And then when I used to be a consultant at one of the big four, right? So when I left the consulting world, I started manufacturing products on a bigger scale, right? I called African Naturalistas products. I was manufacturing, we're making, basically delivering solutions to people. And then people started asking me about hair loss issues, right? And I'm like, okay, what we all did in those days, go and use coconut oil, go and use castor oil. But after a while, you find out that your coconut oil and castor oil is not working for everybody, right? It's not growing out people's hair, right? You need to go back to school to learn about how to solve people's problems because they are reaching out to you with these problems. Right then, there was no trichologist in Nigeria. So I had to go back to school. I became a trichologist, right? A certified trichologist. That's when I actually also became a cosmetic scientist because before I was just manufacturing product, but I wasn't a scientist, right? I was manufacturing from the knowledge I was gaining on the internet, right? So I went back to school, to two schools, became a cosmetic scientist, became a trichologist. Of course, I was an engineer, I was an engineering graduate, but I wasn't using my engineering degree anymore because I was now in the world of hair care, right? And then I started my hair clinic after becoming a trichologist. In my hair clinic, I started becoming a better scientist in cosmetics, right? And then the hair clinic was growing, and then we're doing well, manufacturing, running the hair clinic. And then people were saying, oh, they need knowledge that and by this time with the advent of Instagram live and all these things, I started teaching because I love to teach a lot. I'm thinking that, okay, you have the products, you have the clinic, but we need the knowledge. So that's how the hair care literacy started, and it basically started with AN Tribe, which is was a simple WhatsApp group, and then I was teaching people. That was the year 2020. I mean, I've started from 2000 and we are now in 2020, right? So I was teaching in 2020 on WhatsApp and all. And then, yeah, one or two things happened because I was teaching for free. Right? I wasn't charging people. And then, of course, when you give people free for a long time, then they begin to not appreciate the value. Because I was teaching the people that were my customers.
Right.
We sell to people, we bring them into a group and we start teaching them. So I decided that one or two advices, I decided we needed to start a proper teaching company where what we do is teach about science.
Right.
We teach about hair science, and that's when the Good Hair Tribe started. But when the Good Hair Tribe started, we're teaching, but we found out that we're giving them much more knowledge that they didn't need. Right? Because okay, you've taught me how to grow my hair, you've taught me how to recover from hair loss, you've taught me how to grow my edges, you've taught me, okay, now you're teaching me about seborrheic dermatitis, you're teaching me about alopecia. We're going deeper because we're just going too deep, and we found out that the people that were needed this deep knowledge were not just the people using it on their hair, but people using it on their clients' hair. And that's how we revamped the whole marketing strategy and everything for the Good Hair Tribe. So I've told you how the product started, the clinic started, and the literacy started.
Right.
And then, yeah, that's how the Good Hair Tribe started. And then it just blew because we now found out that the people that were actually using this knowledge for their clients here were the Americans and the British. And of course, the last business in Haircare, which we have right now, is Pure Formula, which is the private labeling arm of our cosmetic business. And of course, the Good Hair Tribe that has been running since 2021 officially, and then Pure Formula, which is a private labeling company. So that those are the four businesses in Haircare.
Right. So first of all, kudos to you, because that is a lot of work. And one of the things that I so value and appreciate is getting to see people use their gifts in support of others. And so it's beautiful to hear about your story and your journey with that. And so let's you share that you love to teach. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about, because there might be some people who are just stumbled onto this channel and they're not aware of what trichology is. So how about if you talk to us a little bit about what is trichology and why it might be helpful for someone to go see a trichologist, knowing that most of the women who find themselves on this channel are dealing with some version of alopecia or hair loss. So what is trichology, and why might someone consider going to visit a trichologist?
Right. So trichology is basically the management of hair and scalp issues. That's the simplest way I can put it, right? It has to do with hair as in the hair loss issues, or it has to do with scalp issues, right? That is what trichology is, and it's a topical approach. It means it doesn't go beyond the topical region. It doesn't. We don't prescribe medication, right? We don't draw blood. There are things that we do not do, but everything that has to do with topical approach of hair loss issues and scalp disorders. Right? Some might talk about hair shaft issues also, but trichologists, many people really don't have hair shaft issues as much as they have hair loss issues and scalp disorders. So that's what the trichologist, that's what trichology is about. Why should you go and visit a trichologist? If you have hair loss issues and you have scalp issues, you should go and see a trichologist, a good trichologist. You don't necessarily need to go and see a dermatologist because number one, they're not as accessible as trichologists. And number two, many times they are, for the more serious issues, I'll say, okay, go and see a dermatologist. So there are sometimes you go to see a trichologist and then they recommend you go and see a dermatologist, maybe when you need hair transplant surgery, other things like some really, really, really deep infections and infestations that might need medications, that might need prescriptions, then you can go and see a dermatologist. Dermatologists and trichologists are supposed to like work hand in hand, right, to deliver solutions to clients.
Okay, so your recommendation, which makes sense, because we've had dermatologists and trichologists on, and a lot of them, similar to what you just said, is some of them work in tandem, they work together. So it's almost like a full service, right? So you get the trichologist who has their specialty, and then you can partner with your dermatologist
if there's need for that, yeah.
If they can support that. And so in terms of a visit, right? If someone were to visit you, because I've had some trichologists talk about while they don't draw blood, like you mentioned, they don't draw blood, they will look at blood work or they will make a recommendation. Do you do that at all? Or do you engage in that side of it? Or is that where you would recommend them to go visit?
Yeah, because of where I'm coming from. Remember, I used to be in Nigeria before. I'm now in the US, right? I was careful not to go into that area,
Okay, got
right?
it. Got it.
Because of where I am coming from.
Yeah, okay.
But you should, if you can offer it. In fact, I have had to listen to a hair surgeon that taught us how to partner with surgeons,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yes, that taught us where we bring the clients, right? And then we work with them and we are all there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So then we do all that, right? And it's a full bouquet, but you should not take the needle and draw it yourself.
Right.
You should look at the blood work if you have been trained to, because some trichologists are trained to do it, some are not trained to do it, right? Some have to go and get extra training on how to read blood work. But if you don't have that training, send the person to the person that does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you have that training, bring the person that will draw the blood and read it for them. But the truth is that you should be able to give your clients every single thing that they need within the limitations and allowances of what you have been trained to do.
That's good. That's good. And so when thinking about some of the issues that might trigger or cause hair loss. So a lot of times, many of us already know that there are some genetic issues that sometimes cause it. There are sometimes hormonal issues. Are there any other things that you see that might contribute to hair loss that we may not be mindful of?
Yeah, so of course, so you mentioned, so there are three things when it comes to hair loss right now. Hair loss, there are three things that cause hair loss. There are three kinds of damages that I have divided it into. So we have the mechanical, we have the hereditary, and we have the hormonal. Any form of hair loss can be put into one of these three categories.
So you
Either
said hormonal,
and hereditary.
hereditary. Okay, got it. Got it. Yep.
Yes, those are the three. Any form of hair loss can be put into
Into
this.
those.
See, hormonal hair loss is triggered by hormones. Hereditary is what you inherited, which if you really, really go down into the hereditary form of hair loss, it still takes some part, it still has to do with some part of hormones, right? Yes. But it's just that it is not just your hormones acting on its own, it was actually passed down to you, right? When we come to hair loss genetics, because so there's something we call hair loss genetics. So we can predict how, we can predict whether you're going to have hair loss or not based on the genetics that you got from your parents, right? Yes, it's another science on its own. And then of course mechanical is what you did by yourself to yourself cause hair loss. All forms of hair loss can be put in these three categories. Mechanical, we're talking about basically traction alopecia.
Right.
Right, yeah. Even things like stress, hair loss as a result of stress, hair loss as a result of sickness, hair loss as a result of all those things, we still go through the hormones. They will still go through the hormones. Even though, so when you're talking about um, um, stress related hair loss, it is not like you're going to get stressed and then you're going to start losing your hair. You're going to get stressed. The stress is going to affect your cortisol.
Right.
Then you are going to have hair loss. So they will still always go through the hormones.
And so thinking about the three areas, this is a good sort of way to categorize, I think. When we think about so many women, and there are women, there might be someone right now who's like trying to figure out what's going on. And many of them are oftentimes overwhelmed by the situation, overwhelmed by the process of trying to figure out what's going on. What would you say are the biggest myths around hair loss and regrowth for those who are either struggling and just trying to even ascertain, is it possible for regrowth from a trichologist perspective? What would you say are some of the biggest myths And what are the things that we should be thinking about if we're dealing with hair loss in terms of pursuing treatment?
Well, the biggest myth I would say is maybe you feel like you can just make a decision that your hair will not grow by yourself. Like, because the situation is so bad, right? And then by yourself, with yourself, and you just decide this hair cannot grow back. That's not true. I wish I had the opportunity to share some pictures with you, right, of the kind of results that we have seen in my own practice, just with products, not even Trichology. Another myth is that another myth I will say is that not all forms of hair loss are recoverable 100%.
Right.
There are some that they will grow back, but it will never be 100% recovery.
Right.
Another myth is that hair surgery is 100% effective. It's not. So let me tell you how hair surgery works. So you have we are talking of the people that their situations are now so bad from scarring alopecia that the only solution is hair surgery.
Right.
So the scar is underneath the scalp, right? The cicatrix is underneath the scalp. And then I don't know if you know much about concrete, like concrete cement. It's like concrete. And you want to plant a seed in a concrete environment. It's not possible, ideally.
Right.
When you want to plant a seed, you plant it in a sandy soil, a loamy soil, or a clay soil. It's concrete. You can't plant a seed on concrete, which is what the scar, the cicatrix under the scalp is. It's like concrete. So the surgeon has to break through the concrete, right?
Right.
Plant the seed, the plant. In this case, the transported follicles from one side of the hair to the other. Now, that scar is very large. When they plant it, it will take roots, but it will never ever go down.
Deep it.
It cannot hit the blood vessel. It's not going to germinate. After some weeks, it's going to fall off. Success rates of the surgery depends on the thickness of the scar tissue. That's why people have a high success rate for their hair transplant surgery, and some don't have.
Right. Okay.
That's how it works. Just think of, if somebody has been into agriculture, this will be very vivid for them. They can understand this very well. So that's basically how it works. Planting something, putting it and breaking down through that concrete and making it take root with the blood vessels. So if it take root, at the end of the day, it's going to fall off. So hair surgery. That's why some very reputable hair surgeons, they will come. They are going to do a very, very in-depth analysis on the success rates of the scar underneath and how they can make it take root.
Okay. So let's pivot a little bit. I would love to hear your take on nutrition and hair loss. And then if you want to, we can maybe transition into talking about stress and the impacts of it and what we can do. So let's start with nutrition and lifestyle factors that we need to be thinking about for those of us who are dealing with hair loss and wanting to reverse hair loss. Nutrition
is a major factor when it comes to hair growth, right? It's like, nutrition is the good food, or good nutrition is medicine that was naturally given to us by God. If you are not feeding your body well with the right foods, I'm not a dietitian, right? But I am very big on healthy eating.
Yes.
Very, very big on healthy eating. So if you are not putting the right things in your body, you are not getting the adequate nutrients, right, for your hair to grow. And remember, this is dead protein, right? This is dead protein. This is not the priority when it comes to
Right.
The nutrients being distributed around your head. This is not it. Like, it will go to your organs, it will go to other things first. This
Yes.
is the last thing. So if you are not feeding it well, right, feeding your body with adequate food, good food, and everything well, your hair is not going to get. It's not going to get the adequate nutrients needed for your scalp is not going to, or should I say, your follicles right now.
Right.
You not get the adequate nutrients needed to give you quality, healthy hair.
Right.
And we are talking about things like protein. We are talking about things like water, drink water. That we are talking about things like, remember, iron plays a big role, right, in blood circulation, right, in making sure you are getting the right blood coming out and everything. And you know what adequate blood flow does to. I mean, not even hair loss right now, just having long hair.
Right.
The massaging and everything, where they say you stimulate blood flow, you stimulate all those things are real.
Right.
So if you are eating iron-rich food, oh my gosh, iron-rich food, your scalp, your hair, everything will glow. Why do you think pregnant women?
Yeah.
Because like they have those full scalp and everything. Yes, we know estrogen has a lot to do with it and all, but the fact is that the truth is that they are always forcing pregnant women to take iron tablets.
Right.
Them to take all those things. So they have those lush, it gives them that shine, that luscious look and everything. Or you know, one thing people don't also consider. Nutrition is very, very important for scalp health. Do you know that junk food will give you very horrible scalp? That's something people don't know.
Right.
So my clinic with scalp disorders, because we have people that have scalp disorders, they have good hair, but they have scalp disorders. They have right. You can basically separate scalp from hair, right? And then we can come and deal with scalp issues alone. And a lot of people, their nutrition is sabotaging their scalp health.
Wow.
Yes, junk food, sugar, horribly processed dairy. I'm telling you, some of us, like me, we have had to battle seborrheic dermatitis for long.
Okay.
And you find out that when your diet is good, you can go for months and not have any breakouts of flakes, of itchiness and everything, because you are eating the right things. Right? Some people travel from. I've had people that have traveled from, let's say, Nigeria, where the food is better, food is good and everything, and they go to another country, and just because of the change in the food they are eating, you know, they flare in their scalp.
Right. Well, and everything is so, unless you're eating whole foods, it's so processed. So the inflammatory oils, the inflammatory, like you said, the sugars, the processed food.
Yes. So when you come into my clinic with a scalp disorder, the first thing I'm looking at is your diet. Yeah, because it is yeast that is making these things overgrow. And what feeds yeast? Sugar feeds, right? You understand? So the first thing, like, I don't even want you to stress me, especially when you tell me you've been using the anti-dandruff shampoos, you've been using all the seborrheic dermatitis shampoos, you've been using all the shampoos and everything, and you know, you use the shampoos and then the next day everything grows back. We are looking into your diet. You understand? We are looking into your diet. So for me, nutrition is I don't use drugs, I don't use medications, because I'm very big on healthy eating. I'm also big on the body healing itself, right? It's not because I don't have anything against drugs. I mean, when I was pregnant, they gave me, what do they call it? Epidural. I took it, right? I gladly took it, like, because I didn't have pain, right? I gladly took it to manage pain, but I believe that everything we need in terms of medications, drugs, body, healthy living, and healthy is inside the food. That's my belief. So I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and the only time my 7-year-old has ever gone to the hospital was when he had like a bad case, like food poisoning, and he was losing blood. Apart from that, we have never been to the hospital. We don't use drugs. We don't do this because I am on their food. Like, it don't even get me on food. Because I've always said that if I never got into hair care, I would have gone into nutrition.
Mm.
No, like it's very clear because nutrition is like my second passion.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
so don't even let's get that because we'll have another.
That's good. That's good. So then, well, let's talk a little bit about stress then, because you talked a little bit about cortisol, and many of the women on my channel are sort of 35 and up, or they're 45 and up, so they're dealing with perimenopause, menopause. You have children, you have parents, you have your job. There's a lot. There's a lot going on. So, what are your thoughts related to stress? And I don't want to call it stress management, because I heard someone call it sort of stress resilience, because the stress is there. The question is, how are we positioned, outside of and including things like prayer and meditation, and sometimes you need to surrender things. What are your thoughts about stress and this process of
Yeah, I think that because I'm in my 30s also. I think that this is the age where you get the most stress. If you're a mother, you're working, you have to manage businesses, then you are married, and everything around you is designed to stress you out. If you are somebody that is upwardly mobile, because not everybody's upwardly mobile. So people are just like, but I'm not about that life. I'm about the life of doing big things in this world, right? And then that life comes with stress.
Yes.
And you have to manage. You have to manage the stress every day. But I will say that we cannot do without stress at this stage in our lives because of all the things coming at us. But yes, I agree that you have to intentionally create an environment that helps you manage it and helps you happy. You understand? So even when all those things are coming, you have to intentionally create an environment. So for me, what I will say is whatever makes you happy. Because when those things come, what stress does is that it increases the production of cortisol in your body, right? Now, let me tell you something. And I think everybody that is listening to this should take this very seriously. If stress gets to the level that is already showing on your hair, then there's trouble. Do you know why? You can see your hair, but there are a lot of things in your body that you cannot see.
Right.
It's just a map of what's happening in your body. Like, it's just a map. It's just a sign that if you're already seeing it on your head, trust me, it's already impacting some other organs that you cannot see.
Exactly.
If stress is already getting to the point where it's causing hair loss, then no, you need to take it easy. You need to take it back, because what are we talking about in your kidneys, in your liver, in your heart? You get what I'm saying? And you know that stress triggers autoimmune disorders.
Absolutely.
So if you have started seeing alopecia areata, men, and autoimmune disorders, they don't respect anybody. They don't respect the trichologist. They don't respect the dermatologist. They don't respect the surgeon. They don't respect anything. They will be there till the day they decide that they no longer want to be there.
Yeah, that is true.
So they don't respect you. They can be there for 1 year, and they can be there for 16 years.
Yeah.
Well, it's autoimmune until they decide, you know what, I'm done with you, I'm leaving. They don't respect anybody. So you have to be very, very careful about how it appears, how it comes, how you manage it. So just be happy. When I mean be happy, yes, you might not be happy, but bring external factors that can, counter the cortisol production. I think that's why I went into that part of stress doesn't respect anybody. Go out and meet friends, right? That will make you happy. I know, it might be external, but the fact is that it brings down the cortisol, right? Expose yourself to movies. If movies are what make you happy, if you think that reading I don't know if you are a faith-based person or whatever, and I'm talking to anybody watching this, reading a Bible, reading a Quran, reading anything, meditating on such things is what gives you the assurance that things will be better and makes you happy. Please go ahead and do that. But you know what makes you happy. You know what brings down your stress, right? Then do that. And if you can remove yourself from the environment that makes you stressed. Yourself, right? Some people cannot remove themselves.
Right.
Maybe they have a sick child, right, that is stressing them, or they're going through a divorce. You know, divorce causes hair loss, right? They're going through a divorce and they have to face that situation head on till they run the entire cycle. You understand? So some people in such situations, they can't remove themselves, right? So you have to counter the effects of stress. Stress, and then sleep well.
Yes.
You need to sleep well because, and I'm talking to myself also, right? You need to sleep well because for me, in fact, I don't mind not sleeping well. I can stress myself, not sleep well, but I heard that in your old age, those cells, those memories are going to start fading off because you did not take care of your sleep when you were younger. And I like, please don't bring dementia near me. I don't even want.
Yeah.
It is even scary that I'm looking at my kids, my husband, everybody, and I will not be able to remember who these are. No, please, let me just go and sleep.
Yeah.
I think that's for me. I think that's for me, like, the reason why I need to sleep. Like, not even the hair loss, like, no, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of the women on our channel, I'll say that because I'm in my mid-50s, right? And so a lot of women on our channel, once you hit a certain age, there's some challenges with sleep. I finally feel like I've gotten a good sleep hygiene process. It's taken a minute, but it's really important. I also remember reading somewhere that the human growth hormone gets released when we're asleep. And so
yes,
in terms of our follicles and the benefit of getting good sleep is that our body, number one, it repairs itself while we're asleep.
Yes, it does.
Right. And so, yeah, that's why I'm always a fan of good sleep.
I wish I had like 28 hours in a day. So but I have just 24 like everybody.
So is there anything else that you want to share that you think is really important for us to know in terms of navigating hair loss and seeking and looking to reverse loss?
Yeah, I will say haircare literacy, right? I think we need to work on our haircare literacy, right? Because when you are literate in haircare, because people are quite literate in skincare, right? But they are not as literate in haircare, right? And I think it's because they feel like they can hide their hair under wigs, under things, and all, so they don't put a lot of education on like, but you cannot hide your face, right? So they don't put a lot of education in their hair care, but you need to be literate in hair care. Gone are the days where you could allow any hairstylist or anybody or anything to do something to you. Gone are the days where you can just jump from YouTube to YouTube, blog to blog, Instagram to Instagram, and just allow people to just dump knowledge that is not true on you. Literate in hair care, because when you're literate in hair care, you will panic less.
Right.
You will panic less because you will have moderate expectations of how you are going to recover this thing. If that's the journey you are on, maybe journey to hair loss recovery, you have good expectations. You have so many information. Nobody can tell you that your name is not Lynn or Lynn. You have the information. You know your genealogy. You know where you're coming from. You know you cannot be bamboozled about where you're coming from. Same thing with hair care, right? Hair care literacy. Because you have the science, right? That's what my business, one of my businesses is about hair care science, hair science, right? And how everything comes together. So I would tell everybody to take their hair care literacy serious, right? So that they don't get duped by quacks and they don't get duped by, some are not necessarily quacks, but they don't have the right information, right? So yeah, hair care literacy is very, 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 very important for everybody because they think the literacy is just for the trichologists, for the coaches, for the dermatologists. No, it's for everybody.
Right. Which is a really, as we close, I think that's a really good segue to, and we will link your businesses in the description box below. So everyone, you can go in there. Please go to her website. Please take a look at all of the resources. They're really in depth, really helpful. So is there anything else you want to share about your website, your resources, how you, and we'll link again to all your socials in the description box, but how you are available to help people.
Yeah. So I'll first of all like to talk about my Trichology business because I feel like that's what's going to benefit most of the people here, right? Because for you to go into haircare literacy, you must really, 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 really be serious. You must be a very serious person to go into haircare literacy. right? But for my Trichology business, I help people with all forms of scalp disorders, all forms of hair loss issues, and all forms of hair growth issues. Right now, what makes me different is that I give convenient solutions. Like if it's solvable, I can solve it, because there are some that are not solvable. But as long as it's solvable, I use a combination of hair products, hair clinic services, and hair care literacy to solve people's problems. So we have hair loss masterminds, we have consultations, I use those three approaches. So I use an ecosystem of these three to solve people's issues. So it doesn't matter whether I have physical access to you, I will solve your problem, right? So I use virtual consultations, I use doorstep consultations where I go to the people's doorstep in Houston, Texas. And if you're not in Houston, Texas, I will solve your problem with masterminds, right?
Right.
Yes, masterminds, virtual services, one-on-one, one time, and then periodic, where you can work with me for 3 months, for 1 year, periodically to solve your hair loss issues, your scalp disorders, right? So if you go to www.askthetrichologist.com or www.the-trichologist.com, I'm there to help you out, right? That's what we do. I can help you out. So it doesn't matter whether, I've had people as young as, my youngest client has been 2 years old, right? People as old as 70-something years old that I've worked with, right? And we have been able to get a lot of results. So if you go to the askthetrichologist.com and you see all those pictures, they are real. They are real. They are my clients. So how we got them is another case. Sometimes we use products, sometimes we use products and clinic, sometimes we use products and literacy, right? Then if you are interested in hair care literacy, you want to take courses on growing your hair long, you want to take courses on recovering hair loss, you want to take courses on scalp disorders, infections and infestations, you want to take courses on hair science and everything, then you can go and take our flagship courses at the Good Hair Tribe. So if you go there, the flagship courses are for end users that want to use those knowledge to grow their own hair, to solve their own scalp issues, not for, and you can also use it for your clients, but these are deeper courses that we work with, right? But if you want to use it for yourself, grow your hair long, solve your hair loss issues, solve your issues with your traction alopecia, then you can go and take our flagship courses on the Good Hair Tribe.
Okay, awesome. And we will link everything in the description box. So everyone, you'll be able to go to the websites and get the resources you need. I'm so glad to hear that you work with virtually, number one, but also with younger clients, because I've had quite a few emails. And in fact, I'm going to go back and refer them to you of people with children who wanted some support. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Again, congratulations for all that you're doing.
Thank you.
We are blessed because of your work. And don't be a stranger.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It was a great time. I really enjoyed. So I love talking about hair all the time, and this was a good time.
Awesome. Thank you. And so everyone, as always, live well, live blessed, nourish your crown, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.